taken from the table. Last one, reconsider action. The only people who can reconsider an action are the people who voted in favor of something. If a bill does not pass and you're upset, you cannot reconsider that. The only people who can reconsider that are the people who voted and won. The only people who can make this action are those who have won. Sit down.
Speaker, I'll ask for parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, what's your inquiry?
Okay. When you suspend the rules, can you use that to change the proportions, committees, and votes?
No. You can, at which point I will say that's dumb, and I'll make you sit down.
Because you are dumb.
The problem is, it depends on what you're talking about. I mean, more than likely, if you try and do that, you have gold party and blue party in here, and if Representative Wills is keeping track of his people, and Representative DeFazio is keeping track of his people, you're not going to be able to change that, because one group is going to want one thing, and the other group is going to want another thing, and you can't really bring that around because it requires a 2/3. You're not going to get 2/3 without both of these people being in your favor. Yes?
So because it takes 2/3 to take away a 2/3 for anything else?
It's pretty, yeah, it doesn't make, it's not going to work. Okay, we're going to run through a couple of these things really quickly. We're going to have to go to dinner. Go to page 18. There are 3 things we're going to cover real quickly, and then we're going to go ahead and break. Amendments.
Awesome.
So, you cannot amend anything in the House. Understand. But there is a way that you can do this. Pay attention. You're going to need this. You can't amend something that's on the House floor. However, there is a trick that the House uses that does work. You can dissolve into the Committee of the Whole. This takes us out of House procedure and brings us into committee procedure. If you dissolve into the Committee of the Whole, you are basically one large committee. Does that make sense?
Awesome.
If you bring us out of the House process, you are in committee process. You can only amend things. You cannot kill them. You cannot vote on them. You can merely amend it. The only thing you can do is vote on those amendments. That is the only thing you can do. If you want to vote on this bill after you've amended it in the Committee of the Whole, you have to bring us back out of the Committee of the Whole into the House session, and then we vote on it.
Mr. Speaker, I will ask for a point of parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, Representative.
How do you move into the Committee of the Whole?
You just say, Mr. Speaker, I request that we move into the Committee of the Whole, at which point it will take a majority vote. It's not on here because this is only a House privilege. Senate can't do this. That is something that we can do, and it requires a majority vote, but you'll have to request it, and it requires a second. There is no debate, there is no amendment, unless, well, there's no debate unless I decide. I get to decide if there's debate, and there is no amendment at all. But if we're in the Committee of the Whole, sit down. If we're in the Committee of the Whole, notice your amendments chart. That helpful little tree chart. There can be a first-degree amendment. There can be a second-degree amendment. There cannot ever be a third-degree amendment. So,
Really?
say, Representative DeFazio's bill has been brought before the Committee of the Whole. Representative Wills proposes an amendment. And somebody else, Representative Nick Mullins, proposes an amendment to Representative Wills' amendment. There are 2 amendments. And there is the bill being discussed, there's an amendment to the bill being discussed, and there's an amendment to the amendment. You cannot propose a third amendment until the second amendment has been dealt with. We will deal with the second-degree amendment, then the first-degree amendment, and then we can go back to more amendments. Yes, Representative?
Would that be a case when we could move to suspend the rules to propose a third amendment?
That would absolutely be asinine, because at that point we're proposing too many amendments, and it would just be super confusing. It's much easier just to deal with the second-degree amendment, and if you deal with that second-degree amendment, then you can go back and, while dealing with the first amendment, propose another second amendment. So it's just going back and forth. Exactly. There can only be 2 amendments on the table at once. Also, if you strike something, you cannot add it back in. Say there is a bill that is discussing something about the United States Army, and somebody wants to strike the word Army, and it gets passed. You cannot propose an amendment to put back in the word Army.
Oh.
Any other word, but not that one. You can't. Not until another amendment later. Does that make sense?
sure that.
Yes, Representative.
So, would that be a case, if they strike the word army, and it gets passed, would that be a case where you could reconsider an action, put it back in?
Only if you voted in favor of the winning side. Favor or opposition of the winning side. That's the only people who can actually request that that be reconsidered.
I rise to the point of information.
Yes, Representative.
So, can you move to suspend the rules?
This is a question of parliamentary procedure, not a question about,
Well, it has to do with that, it comes back to it.
okay.
So can you move to suspend the rules and reconsider action even if you didn't vote for the winning?
Yes, virtually you can propose to suspend the rules on anything, but it requires 2/3. And if they find out, you have to say, I request that we suspend the rules and reconsider a vote. You have to tell them what you're doing, at which point the party in favor who won that vote, if you were in the losing side, they're not going to vote yes, and that requires a 2/3 vote. There is no way you're going to succeed. You can do it. You're going to succeed? Absolutely not. Not unless you have some sort of weird magical powers over the people on the other side and you can somehow get them to do what you want.
Psychic powers go.
Mullins, it's not going to happen. It doesn't work on him. So, amendments. First and second degree amendments. There is one other thing we can do here. This is really important. Unanimous consent. If there's a motion and a second, we don't even have to vote. I will say, I move for unanimous consent.
I object.
And as long as nobody does what he just did,
Filibuster.
unanimous consent passes, and we have passed the motion. However, if I move for unanimous consent, which I will pretty much do every single time, unless it's a heated topic and we have to go into a vote, I will wait until there is an objection and we'll move on.
All right,
Yes?
so
So if someone has an objection, is there something that we can stand up and say, like, okay, can you make him actually explain that so we know it's not just someone trolling us in the back of the room?
I rise to a point of information.
And then we can correct that information.
Yes, you say, I rise to a point of information. Mr. Speaker, why in the world did he just say object? At which point I will look to Representative Hassany and say, Representative, why did you object? And I'm asking you the question at this point, so you will say.
Mr. Speaker, why are we moving for unanimous consent?
Oh.
Representative Hassany has a point. I don't know. Yes,
Should we amend the fact that you can only have 2 amendments?
we just discussed that. And no.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to a point of information.
No, you're not rising. You're still sitting.
I have a
The
question.
chair does not acknowledge the representative.
I submit to a point of information.
The chair does not acknowledge the representative because he is not rising.
Mr. Speaker, I
Yes,
rise to a point of
Representative.
information.
Yes, Representative.
Okay, so, oh gosh, I forgot what it
Sit
was.
down. Now, we're going to be breaking here in a couple minutes, actually probably now. Yes, Representative.
Ninth.
And a second to adjourn. I will
100.
temporarily. Are there any other questions? I will take 2. Yes, Representative. Yes. Shut up and sit down. Yes, Representative. Pertinent questions.
Okay, this goes off of this previous question. Would suspending the rules to reconsider an action be a good idea if you realize that you made a mistake with your previous action and everyone realized that?
If you made a mistake on it, then you just get the people who actually voted on the winning side to reconsider their action. You don't have to suspend the rules. Just talk to them. And by the way, this is the House of Representatives. You have the opportunity to move around freely and talk with your other constituents as long as you are quiet and do it appropriately. I will take one more pertinent question. Yes, Representative.
Historically, when she party that two-thirds of members of the House of Representatives, you have to second
Say that, okay. You guys can come and talk to me about that afterwards. There's a motion on the table and a second to adjourn. Hearing no objection, I move unanimous consent. Ruled. We are recessed until further time. Ladies and gentlemen, real quick, if you have bills that you want to give to the House of Representatives, this fancy little rack up here, you will put your bills into it. Representatives, please wait. Listen to me.
We're no longer in order.
There is... Shut up.
We're no longer in order.
There is a rack up here that if you have bills that you wish to present to us,
You are breaking
you
wheels.
can. If you are not listening at this point, you ask this question later, I will shame you in front of all of your friends. You are dismissed.